Some help finding something?
Yeah, maybe. I've nearly got it now. Yes, I'm in my current stages of work here, finally. And, yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Just so I can... Are we live through?
Yeah, you're good, buddy.
Were we on through all that paper trail?
No.
Okay, that's good. My poor home audience had to sit through a bunch of paper trail as I all of a sudden couldn't find my work and was opening up the pages of like 5 years ago, and which is great. I've done it before, but I haven't done it in 5 years, so this show will be fucked. With that in mind, I want to thank everybody for coming and supporting me. So much. Give yourselves a hand, even though it might be embarrassing to do so. And for Mr. Sly Stallone section for keeping this live for you folks.
Yeah. Of course.
He almost had to cheer for himself. Boy, that sounds like my nice much time, especially for today. So yeah, I'll get started. I wrote this just. I don't know if you guys know, but during the climate change meetings in Belém, Brazil, a fire broke out and had to evacuate people. Yeah, the climate's so bad, dangerous. We can't even have meetings about how dangerous the climate is. Woo! That's rough stuff, isn't it? They say it's because of the fossil fuel industries, right? But like the fossil fuel tycoons, man, they don't want to make changes because that means they'd have to lose billions and billions of dollars, right? They don't want to do that shit. So, can you imagine what would happen if one of those tycoons caught on fire? Oh my God! Oh, I swear, climate change is a hoax. I just have really inflammable genetics. Spontaneous human combustion runs in my family, but I need all these billions to buy a better place in the afterlife. Goodbye, cruel world. Curse these flammable bones. But don't forget, drill, baby, drill. Yeah, I made it through that one. I think I got that right. I need a drink to celebrate doing that. So I mentioned just a moment ago about the afterlife. And that's always struck me funny about religion, right? Is how can so many people be certain that their religion is the one and only true religion, right? Like, doesn't really compute to me, right? I don't know if it computes to you, but I don't know, some people are really violent about it, obviously, like you've seen this throughout history, the world wars, religious wars that persist on today. But I just don't know, man. I can't see how it could be. Fuck, sorry, I lost my place. Fuck, this is terribly embarrassing.
Religious
Take
wars.
your time.
Yeah, religious wars and how they can be so certain about it, right? Oh yeah, what I don't understand is because for me, people of any religion, right? Whatever religion they be, even if they're atheists, I break it down a little more simply than that. Some people really cool, right? But there's a lot more people that are totally fucked in the head. Yeah, I don't know. Let's think about it, folks. God. Can you imagine God the way I understand it? What do you think's more likely? God, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving. Do you think he created limited and unique human beings with the capacity for a multitude of perspectives, each of which just one small piece of a divine cosmic puzzle too large for humans to understand? Or do you think that loving, powerful, all-knowing God who created limited, unique human beings with each for the capacity of multiple perspectives, do you think he did that and said, "Oh, fuck it, everybody's wrong except Seventh-day Adventists"? I just don't think that's too likely, folks. I don't think so. Can you imagine if it turns out that only Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses are right. The only way to get to heaven is to go around ringing people's doorbells and harassing them into thinking the way you do. I don't, look, if it's that way, I don't think that God's running things. I think the devil's running the show. It's like that. A loving God just wouldn't be that cruel. Sorry, I got all tangled up on that when I tested my own faith there, I guess. And I'm doing these long, wordy jokes to get them out of the way, so I can go smoother a little bit. But you know, and there's another thing that I don't understand is people's hatred for immigrants. I talked about this in a serious poem earlier this year, right? And I don't get the beef, right? Because like somebody comes from a place that far away, I never met them before, they never did nothing to me. How could I possibly have any problem with them? But somebody in my hometown that I've interacted with, they probably pissed me off somehow, right? Matter of fact, everybody here tonight and everybody watching at home is disappointed me in one way or another. I'll take an immigrant over somebody I know any day. You know, people post such hateful things about it too. Hateful shit, right? Like, oh, if you cut off an immigrant's benefits, they'd go back home. Maybe to some places, right? But they really have any idea how fucking bad the world is in certain areas? You know, like that poor immigrant could be run away from drug lords. Could be, you know, their home was bombed and everybody knows dead. You know, could be they have to eat bugs just to survive, right? Like the world's a bad place, right? I'll tell you what, man. You take any lifelong Canadian and you parachute them into Afghanistan, Sudan, Gaza, North Korea, to other places, they'd be begging for a cold Canadian winter and a park bench pretty quick. And I know that's not good. That's just kind of the way it is. But I just kind of hope that going through that ordeal would give them enough compassion to realize that everybody deserves food to eat, a place to live, the ability to walk down the street without fear, and not just immigrants, even those people you've known your whole life that you can't stand the sight of. They deserve basic human dignity too. Woo, yeah. Let me take another drink to that. I know where I'm going. I'm going to talk about content creators next. And I roll out of the frame for this so that the live stream can't see how intoxicated I am.
It's a wide shot.
It's a wide shot. Well, they say the camera adds 30 pounds. Maybe this year I'll finally beat anorexia. I want to talk about content creators because they really grind my gears, man. Content creators piss me the fuck off. Not my content, though. It's perfect. Even when I fuck up my jokes like I did, right? What I'm saying is still great. No, man. I'm just Josh. See, I'm not talking. Well, what I am talking about is only content that could be created in today's social media age. See, people have been acting, writing, singing, dancing, making art, scientific discoveries, sharing skills for thousands of years. But it's really only been the last 20 years or so that you could post publicly a picture of your dog dressed up in a Halloween costume. That ain't art, folks. That's low-level animal cruelty. Dog want to be dressed like that, right? And look, you know, I'm obviously not perfect at this. I might write a joke that's not funny or forget what the fuck I'm going to say. You know, poem with no rhythm, right? But at least I'm trying, right? And on the other side of things, you got folks that got thousands of followers, and all they're doing is playing fucking video games all day long, right? It's not good, man. It's not good, you know. Like people said when I was growing up, you know, adults said us kids were playing too many video games, and we were, right? But now it's much worse than that. We're not even playing the video games ourselves anymore. We're going online to watch other people play video games. I'll tell you what, folks, I think we are done as a culture because we are now too lazy to push our own buttons. We ain't going to last very long on that shit, no. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're like me, you know, make bad art if it's the best you can do, right? Because at least you're putting something that's uniquely yours, that's your signature view out to the world, that's you and nobody else, and you just never know. Like, someday it might catch on, you might change the world, right? You never know. But I guarantee you, you are not going to change the world posting videos of yourself eating a blizzard at Dairy Queen. As much as you might like to, I am sorry, but your diabetes is not going to smash the patriarchy. speaking of, I don't know if this is the patriarchy, but definitely fighting the law. I knew, I knew this lady growing up. Or I heard about the story later, honestly, but she was so desperate to fit in with people that she gave them somebody else's security code so they could break into their house.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lonely world, but how bad and how desperate are you that you decide, I need to make friends with burglars, right? Like, I don't think you're doing too good if that's what you're aiming, right? And, you know, as it turned out, the code didn't work, right? So I think she should have took that as a sign from God, the loving God that I described earlier, not the one that only likes Mormons, you know, that nice God, right? She should go up to people, like, full admission, right? Like, hey, geez, I tried to break into your house, or I gave your security code away, and I'm really sorry. It was a terrible, awful mistake, and I'm just wondering, can I be friends with you guys instead? Because we might not have anything in common, but I think I'm doing better, because at least you guys aren't trying to break into people's houses. They weren't breaking into people's houses. It turns out them people were robbing banks. And that friend, she's now an international jewel thief. You might know her as Carmen Sandiego. Got you on Carmen, finally, the final pop worked. I meant to tell this in summertime, but I ran out of room. So I'm going to tell it now. And this struck me as very funny. Just one hot summer day, this cat was riding down Agricola Street on a fucking tricycle, yelling, "Woo! I'm not as happy as it sounds. Woo! I'm not as happy as it sounds. Woo! I'm not as happy as it sounds." And I'm thinking, buddy, as I thought it was, you guys thought it was funny too, right? I'm thinking, buddy, if you think it's a good idea to ride down the street on a tricycle, yelling, "Woo! I'm not as happy as it sounds," I think you're exactly as happy as it sounds. You are not doing well, my friend. And the next thing that I've got to say is based on my own experience with psychiatric intervention. I'm just thinking that guy's probably going, "Oh man, if only I could have expressed my emotions in a more socially normative fashion. Instead of yelling, 'Woo! I'm not as happy as it sounds,' I wouldn't have to be in the hospital right now." Where he's now saying, "Boo! I'm exactly as unhappy as it sounds. Boo! I'm exactly as unhappy as it sounds. Boo! I'm exactly..." And I'm like, fuck it, man. Give the guy his tricycle back. He wasn't hurting nobody. Ride down the street again and tell us just how he feels. This one, I don't know, man. Like, it's a joke, but like, I don't think it bodes very well for the future, right? Because like, so... This lady, there's a newlywed couple, and I don't even know how I found this, but I did find it. This newlywed couple, and the husband is teasing the wife mercilessly, and he won't give it up. He won't give it up. So finally, she turns to him and she says, "Honey, you know that suit you married me in? That's perfect for you to be buried in." And he shuts right up. And I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be funny, but a husband only stops teasing his wife when he's afraid for his life? Like, I don't think this relationship, if this is the honeymoon, where have they got to go from here? Like, toxic right from the honeymoon. Like, this is going to work out, man. And that just got me to thinking, you know, I might be a lonely guy, and I am. But I'm not going to date one woman who's had, well, at least, if they've had one ex die under suspicious circumstances, I'm not going to. I want to be the fucker that makes the pattern. Right? Yeah. I guess I'll tell you this: I'd rather die alone than be murdered in love. Fuck me. This one really fucking cracked me up. So I hope you guys like it too, because I was maybe going to finish on it, but I got some other stuff. Look, you're getting all the inside Hollywood here tonight.
Yeah.
On this very disorganized winter show where I was like eating my dinner 13 minutes before people were supposed to come, and the scotch probably hit me a little faster than it should have. But I digress. I took an AI soulmate test.
Okay.
And it got back to me and it said, "You have no soul."
No.
And I said, "Neither do you. You're AI. Let's kiss." I'm just Josh. I didn't say that shit. What it was like you would answer a bunch of preferences about your mate, right? Your ideal mate and all this stuff. It was going to draw you a sketch of what your ideal mate would look like. Only thing was, like, oh, I thought, fuck, nothing to lose here, except for when it sent you the sketch, you had to pay $3.40 to get the sketch. And I'm like, fuck that. My soulmate would know I wouldn't pay $3.40 for my soulmate. Yeah, they know that shit, right? So, and you know where my soulmate can find me, man? My soulmate, she can find me at the grocery store looking for dented cans. You know, and I can tell we're gonna have our own like Lady in the Tramp moment here, because we're gonna be in that dented can. Our hands is gonna reach for the same can of irregular beats, right? And we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna realize that we had the same experience. The last time we got those irregular beats, they made us a little constipated, right? And then we're gonna share the look that only true love cheapskates could possibly share, right? And that is that if you're a little bit constipated, you'll save a little bit of money on toilet paper. I tell you what, folks, any woman who's willing to risk gastrointestinal discomfort to save a few pennies, that's the one for me. That's my soulmate. I thought you would like that. On the other side of section of bad way, what a segue.
Yeah.
I didn't even intend that to be funny. There we go. But a friend of mine almost got an apartment, but decided not to because the landlord was a sex offender. Yeah, that's pretty good. And like, but times are so desperate these days, right? Like, I could just see somebody going like, well, I might get broke, but it's $400 less in rent, right? Yeah. Rent's still $2,300, but that purple nurple means I can afford supper. That's what I would do. I guess you guys would not take that apartment either. Okay. Right. Purple nurple wasn't worth supper then.
I don't think so.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
That'd be a good supper.
Oh yeah, I better do this one before I forget to do it. Specifically requested a mirror for this, and I'm gonna level with you folks. I'm not superficial. I just don't like ugly people. But you see, the joke's on me because I have really low self-esteem. So every day I look in that mirror, I'm like, motherfucker, I hate you most of all. Oh, I just feel bad.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, my blackheads are really showing in this thing here, this small makeup mirror. Like, I should have put on some rouge, I guess. But you know, and then I get a little emotional, and I start crying. Oh, if only I could be a little more attractive. If only I could be as attractive as Deanie Petty. At least I could get on TV. It doesn't have to be any good, but at least I could be on TV, and I wouldn't have to do shows on my bachelor apartment anymore. Oh, why can't you look as good as Deanie Petty? Thanks for coming, folks. You guys, I couldn't do these bachelor apartment shows. And that one goes out to Deanie Petty, I guess. I almost forgot to do this one, but I'm glad I didn't because I think it's comical. And it's a little dated, so you forgive me. I planned to do this show on November 1st, and the World Series and my 2 confirmed attendees, thank you, Doug Nicanera, kind of made me change my mind. But I saw this, and it was too funny to ignore. So I saw this post that said, don't shame teenagers for trick-or-treating, because they chose childhood over partying. So I hand over that steps. And I'm like, oh, anytime, I should say the only time that I was trick-or-treating when I was a teenager was when I was fucking wasted. Wasted, you know? And I could get away with it too. I'd be like, listen. My disability makes me seem drunk and makes me older makes me look older. I can't even remember because I'm so drunk. It makes me look older than I am. And folks, it's not liquor, it's ginger ale. It's just part of the costume. And like, they feel bad for my ass and like give me free candy and shit, right? Extra candy, because they feel bad. And so I'm like, okay. So you modern day teenagers, if this was supposed to be the case, sure, I'll hand over the Snickers. You can pass the breathalyzer test first. Would you give them the candy? Nah, fuck, they're lying, they're drinking. All right, well that winds us to our big awkward close of the stand-ups. Yeah, this is an old joke that I threw a new twist on because, this is an, everybody says that my friends, well maybe actually hear this is not my friend anymore, but this one in particular is an ex-friend, right? Because I said to her one time, I said, I'm in pretty good shape, and she said, Josh, you're not in good shape, you're just skinny. So I said, oh yeah? Well, not only are you mean, you are also fat. You know what she did? She tried to eat me. She thought it was delicious too, just like a Cornish hen. But with too many small bones to make it worth her while. I'm still alive today because she couldn't choke me down. Yes, I flipped the coin on that. I aimed to stand up on the right note. I do believe.
Cornish hen chicken joke.
Yeah. I am a Cornish hen. Take that, you furries. Stay tuned next time for comments about Trump supposedly deporting immigrant drug dealers, but then pardoning ex-Honduras presidents that were extremely successful drug dealers. We'll work on that. I couldn't write that one last night too. So we're moved on to the poems here. Hopefully there's a couple of funny comments there, but these are meant to be serious, so I live with your quiet approval if something falls flat. Sorry about that religion. I had that down perfectly, but I don't know what happened there. I just blanked. I guess I need to read the Bible more or something. But, yeah, I have these words right in front of me, so I can't fuck them up too bad. And one thing, I'm prone to going a little fast with these, so if I do get quick in my reading, do let me know. If it was too quick, let me know, because I'll watch it back and feel shitty. So anyway, oh geez, and I hear some big yawns. We're getting tired. So this first one, I wanted to talk about intelligence and how it's sort of both a blessing and a curse. And obviously some of my own experience with this, I guess, since I'm writing, I consider myself, one of the elect or whatever. But I really want to focus on how there's like different forms of intelligence and the parts that are good about it, the parts that are bad about it, but how ultimately, if you do have a, any kind of sort of special intelligence, that even though it can be burdensome, it's ultimately a responsibility because we're supposed to help other people and we don't just exist here in a vacuum. So anyway, without further ado on that, this one's called The Blessings and Burdens of Intelligence. I'm no master science genius. I handled the high school curriculum, but couldn't really crack calculus. A 6th grader might beat me in geometry. Anyone hip to CP knows many of us lack visual spatial perception. Please do not ask me for directions. I might be far enough off the mark to send you to another dimension. If it is a more enlightened place with a better handle on war, sickness, and starvation, could you be so kind as to give me the correct coordinates so that I might pop by for a visit? I'm not sure if my neurological deficiencies have enabled greater comprehension in other areas, but I suspect they play a part. Like the blind man who can hear more acutely, I have yet to meet another soul with cerebral palsy who otherwise who can match my memory. The things you have said, if I was captivated enough to catch them the first time, remain with me to present. This doesn't work if an impression was not made. I am likely more recognizable to you than you are to me. This is not because I am particularly famous or remarkable. It is because there aren't other people who walk with crutches that dress anything like me. If you have not said anything that piqued my interest, I probably will not recall we've met. So many memories, you might think I have a leg up on mistakes. I remember my failures well, but when they have not been my own fault, I am only more keenly aware of an unfair world. Even when I have made a poor choice, I might occasionally repeat it out of loneliness. But thankfully, with such incisive recollection, I am unlikely to repeat a mistake often, because pain from decades past is as fresh as it was yesterday. How can I overcome my suffering if I can't possibly forget it? But I've had many good times too, and vivid impressions of ideals beyond the confines of our unfair world. When I am able to focus on happy times and greater possibilities, I can sublimate the terror of my suffering. The great joy of intelligence is deeper understanding. I don't mean in comparison to others, though my ego does sometimes rear its prideful head. I'm happy to not be easily fooled as some, or to have formed an opinion decided by other people's reasoning. I'm too strong and too stubborn to not make up my own minds. I mean deeper understanding in the sense of knowing something more completely, to be able to penetrate to the very core of it, so that you might better understand its full nuanced meaning. Such comprehensive knowledge is a very great blessing indeed. Here I've made a bunch of pen scratches on the next stuff. Let's see if I can put this out. I think so. True knowledge is a great burden and responsibility. It can be near impossible to find like-minded companions. Genius can be incredibly particular. I wonder if Isaac Newton and Vincent van Gogh could have had much of a conversation. Were their fields of knowledge even communicable? Perhaps a camaraderie and exceptional intelligence, but I'm not sure they could have fully understood each other's contributions. And that's just the trouble between geniuses. The most alienating aspect of intelligence is that most people are average. I don't mean that they are stupid necessarily, but just that the difficulties of life and the unbearable pressure to conform have robbed them of the chance to find out what could make them special. If you have gifts and have had the opportunities to cultivate them, you are blessed to live an exalted life, but cursed because you must in large part live it on your own. You are not on earth with gifts only for yourself. You must use them to help others. This can feel insurmountable because not only is communication difficult, a lot of people are unwilling to hear the truth. Just look at the genocides throughout history and today. They are most heartbreaking because we are capable of so much better. Human kindness is not rocket science, but can be near impossible to practice when hatred, greed, and lust for power govern the human heart. This is why we see good people get arrested for trying to share food and medicine. My keen awareness of the past sometimes allows me to predict. Doesn't allow me to do anything, but I can't say it right. Sometimes allows me to predict the future. I'm not always right, but I seem to have a general sense of how things will be. I can tell a great deal about someone from looking at their picture. Somehow, I am able to discern the kind of person they are from the look on their face. I know this talent isn't mine alone, but it's not terribly common. It's easy for me to retreat and avoid people, to avoid potentially unpleasant interactions. It's hard for me to be present amongst others because of my health and because I'm easily annoyed. Yep. Everything pisses me off. I need more alone time than almost anyone I know. But I mustn't forget that I'm here on earth for a reason. I don't possess gifts to be special. I possess gifts to help others understand. They may very well not listen or even harm me out of avarice, but I am not on earth to live in a vacuum. Sometimes I will fall short of my potential out of pain and frustration. But if I can somehow continue to express the things I know to be true, then perhaps one day what I have done may ignite a small spark in the chain of events necessary to make the world how it could be.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. And I had trouble here because I couldn't get these ties off. And I got two more to go. Yes, okay. So, and I could have closed with either one. That was the first one. These are the next two, and whatever came up first. This is what I was going to read next. So, thank God I'm not stuck in my 2020 poems, because you might hear something about haha, COVID is not here yet, and that obviously was not the case. I'm just clowning around trying to add some levity. This next piece is called "The Ties of Friendship," and I wrote like a sliver of this a few years back, maybe 2023, called "Popularity Ain't Friendship," and this touches on that, but it's a more, I think, a more detailed examination of friendship. Obviously, my own experiences, and I get a little bit into that. And I start off by talking with the folks with like never had a friend at all, and then the cats that want to be popular, and that's not real friendship, and also some like, cause I mean I can't help myself, some advice for like what to look for in a friend, and so this is, you know, my specific experiences and sort of an overall philosophy on good friendship. It's called "The Ties of Friendship." There are people among us who are truly alone. Maybe they came from a bad family and never received an iota of compassion. Maybe they are too mentally ill or dysfunctional to have in your home. Maybe they are terrible, but maybe they just made some really bad choices. Maybe they are incredibly strange and can't relate to anyone else. Or maybe everyone they love has died. If you do not find yourself in such circumstances, consider yourself lucky and be thankful for your good fortune. Because I have known such people and have seen their pain in the way they move. It's a grief so deep they are like ghosts who breathe the air of the living but have the look of the dead. There are others who collect friends like trophies. They're never satisfied. They always need more. But the quality of their relationships is usually poor. Popularity doesn't equal connection. If I'm in a room with no one I really like, I'd rather be alone. Opposite of that tonight. I think this is part of what my grandfather meant when he would say, you don't want too many friends. If I was constantly social, I'd never get any work done. But I think he had it at least partly wrong. If someone is truly your friend, you can never have too much of that in your life. There should be natural drifting apart as you change and grow. I'm not close with any of the same people outside of family I was in elementary school. I think this is for the best. I'm not nearly as normal as I was in those days. There are women on my Facebook who remain besties from kindergarten. Part of me thinks it's really special to have a pal your entire life. But part of me worries it could be a little stunted. Have you had the chance to grow much if the closest people in your life have been there since you were 5? But I could be too cynical, you know? Maybe with such long and strong bonds, they've been able to support each other perfectly to become who they're meant to be. Even I have friendships that stretch back at least 25 years. I was in large part the weirdo I was meant to be by the time the clock rang in the 21st century. I was going to say something about that Pete, but I couldn't think of anything funny, so I had to let it go. That's not Abe's fault.
Where's Abe?
I don't know. Carly's under the weather, so maybe he's the weather. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Damn.
Jeez, I can't help myself making jokes in these serious poems here. Then there are those friendships that you thought were strong, but your friend is no such thing. Maybe not as far as an enemy, but sometimes exactly that. You were manipulated and used. Your friend didn't care about you in the least. It might be that they are incapable of caring for anyone at all. These self-interested sociopaths are dangerous because, with the full force of their charm, you are fooled into loving them, and even more fooled into believing they love you too. Thankfully, I've only encountered this treachery a couple of times, but scars of betrayal cut so deep, I will never forget them. Hope no one thinks of me as betrayer, but I've not been blameless in my interactions. I've let some friendships fall by the wayside because I no longer feel the connection, or because I feel the person is too dysfunctional to be a friend. As in our earlier story here, if you become a crackhead, I probably won't want to hang out. There have been times where I may have said the wrong thing, where I may have suspected someone might have particular intentions toward me. But my comments were not meant in malice, especially if the intentions weren't hateful. I would discuss my views, however ill-timed and appropriate, and attempt to figure the situation out. Sometimes the waters of emotion can be murky, and clarity extremely elusive. If you feel I've betrayed you, I will hear you out. But if you betrayed me and I simply made the specifics known, I've committed no treachery. And if I stopped communicating because of dysfunction or lack of common ground, I have done no wrong. I've lost people because I no longer pique their interest, or my company doesn't add enough value to squeeze into an already full life. These losses have been hurtful, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want someone to be my friend just because they feel bad. This can happen all too often if you're disabled. I think that for the most part, people mean well and want to help. You might need the help, so I'm not saying to scorn the assistance you need, but pity is not a basis for friendship. This doesn't mean a friend can't help you out, but I do not exist to make someone feel better. You would not believe how many friends have told me a woman is flirting with me when I know she was just talking sweet to try to make me feel good. I've been around long enough to know when someone is flirting for real. It sucks to be alone all the time. I've made the error of trying too hard to be friends with someone who isn't interested. As I've gotten older, I've become hip enough to know when people are just trying to be polite. I've made the mistake of allowing my loneliness to ignore the cues of someone's disinterest. I've even fallen victim to people whose loneliness or ineptitude has caused them to ignore the cues of my disinterest. As painful as it might be, just simply move on and try with new people until you find a match. Think of it like dating. You wouldn't want to ask someone out unsuccessfully 34 times. When they finally say yes on the 35th time, they've probably agreed just to shut you up. You don't really want to spend time with someone who doesn't want your company. If you find yourself needing new friendships, as I skip the page, there we go. We almost lost that bow. As I have needed a great many times when I hit the page, there have been so many losses just from people moving away. You're still friends, of course, but phone calls are not the same as spending time in person. And the immediacy of life makes it hard to stay in touch. But if you find yourself needing new friendships, I would encourage you to cultivate interests. You have better chances to meet more healthy and like-minded companions. And during those lonesome intervals, your interests will occupy your time. take as much time as you need to find something that makes you excited. If you can develop skills around your passions, you have found one of the best ways to get the most out of life. When looking for a friend, look for someone who makes healthy choices, someone with whom you can grow, and most importantly, find someone whose company you truly enjoy. If you are lucky enough to find someone who feels the same way about you, be the best friend you can be to them. I struggle with this because I cannot help people the way they help me, but I hope my unique perception, honesty, and loyalty can help them in other ways, in ways other friends cannot. I've been fortunate enough to find true friendship and can only hope I have been a true friend in return. Friendship. We got one more on aging, and god damn it, I need a drink. This is, I think Al Tuck would say that drinking is good for your aging health overall. I say the jury's still out on that, but I do thoroughly enjoy it. And it does help me pee better. That's a very delicious red label scotch. I've got to find this. I think it's before. I fucking hope. Anyway, I'll talk about this on. So this last one here is about age, and some of my own experiences with it, but also philosophy of age. Things like, and I challenge some perceptions. Because people assume that like old people are wise and young people are naive, and while that's generally true, it's not always the case. Several contradictions to this, and some advice again how to and half of this anyway how I navigate things, but advice to navigate aging in the best possible way as you go through life. And so the poem is a question that asks, how old do you feel? For me, it varies day to day. I still possess a childlike curiosity and wonder about life. So sometimes I feel like I'm 12. Other days, with all my pain and bodily malfunctions and self-proclaimed ancient wisdom, I could be 100. But most of the time, when I consider what age I most accurately embody, I settle on 28. It's only 2/3 of the way to my 42. If you can find those missing 14 years, please tell me where they went. I'd like it back. But for the time being, I'll stick with the feeling, delusional or not, that I am a young man trapped in an aging body. I suppose this is because I still believe young love can happen for me. And I still hold dreams for a future that somehow feels very far away. Some say age is just a number. That can only ever be partly true. None of us has met who's cracked 200. At a certain point, the max being 122 in recorded history, death is an absolute certainty. People on Tinder and Bumble look better and fresher at 50 than some others at 20. But this is not the norm. Most people on there look their age, more or less, irrespective of beauty or demon pettiness. That was not written there, but I couldn't help myself. The age you appear is affected by a great many things. But the main ones are lifestyle, genetics, and perspective. If you approach life with a sour disposition, if you are always stressed and usually miserable, or have suffered massive trauma, you may appear older than your years. But if you love life, if challenges excite you, and you're able to achieve peace and relaxation at least some of the time, people will probably not believe you're as old as you are. And I couldn't resist writing this part in. If that doesn't work, just act incredibly immature, because no one will believe someone as old as you could act as foolishly as you have. It's almost impossible to come to terms with the fact that everyone who is born will one day die. People say The only guarantees in life are death and taxes. Though it's not likely we could abolish taxes someday. But death seems certain unless we somehow become machines. But I still think physical death would occur even if some part of our consciousness continues on in the world. That is not something I want. I love for my work to live on and hope that I'm remembered well. But when I die, I want to transition fully to whatever comes next. Some common assumptions people make around age are that young people are naive and old people wise. I've seen enough contradictions in this likelihood to know that it can't be taken for granted. People underestimate children badly. They may not be ready to live independently, but they usually know a great deal more than it seems. And everyone assumes old folks have a ton of wisdom. They often do, but I've seen people go down the drain further and further by making the same bad choices. It's very dry in this apartment, so that induces a lot of coughing, and I'm surprised it ain't. I'm able to fucking read this without hacking up a lung here. It's very dry in here. Doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result is not the definition of insanity. It's the definition of stupidity and a forfeiture of the natural wisdom one should have gained with their years. My worries about my own life center around whether I will live long enough to get my work done, if I can stay motivated enough to see it through. I think I suffer from the same general fears everyone has when it comes to aging. What malfunctions will my body endure? My 99-year-old grandmother's been saying life is too hard to live, aged as she is, for at least 10 years. My grandfather said the same thing some years before he died, and that was 10 years ago. How do you live on when you lose your partner of 70 years? I can't imagine the painful loneliness of parents, most family and old friends long since passed. I suppose if you're able to make new friends as you age, then you might be all alone. But I don't like being single at 42. I'm terrified at the prospect of this being a life sentence. Not the bachelorhood itself, but my feelings around it. I don't know that I'll be able to stand it. And God forbid I should lose my mind, even with loved ones, but especially with them. I'm not sure that's a hell I can bear. I have home care workers who work in the facilities for elderly people, and most of them vociferously want to die. Even some of the most extreme sufferers of dementia are aware they aren't well. Please God, take me before that terror. I suspect just about everyone feels the same. As for our close here, I suppose, this is mostly encouragement for me, but I think it can apply to others, as we all breathe and have hopes and dreams. Stay curious so you don't decay before you should. If you're unhappy, make changes. Challenge yourself. Help others whenever you can. Be more patient than I am. I'm too easily annoyed. I'm so deeply sorry if you're a child who's killed by war or disease or any of the other unspeakable horrors that happen in our broken world. You didn't get your shot. And I hope you're being loved the way you should be now. But for those of us who had something of a chance, be who you want to be while you still can. It'll all be over before you know it. I was going to wear a sweater or sports coat to add to the demeanor, but that
It's a little warm.
performance brings a lot of sweat, so
Yeah,
glad I did.
yeah, we took the AC out of the window, so.
Yeah, but it's still like, -3 or whatever, right?
It's
It's not a
cold
hot day.